Hey, I'm Dave Knight with the Dave Knight Real Estate Team, and we love being a real estate resource for people. Today's question is, Dave, why shouldn't we go with the higher price cash offer? Now, I'd say in most cases you do, because that's the strongest offer. When you've got cash, there's less decision makers. It doesn't have to be appraised. There's no bank involved. There's no potential hiccups with that. The buyer has full control of the money. Now, why would we ever recommend not going with that highest price cash offer? Well, there's more to the deal than just the cash. We're also looking at the agent. We're looking at the motivation of the buyer. In this case, we had an agent did a terrible job filling out the contract, missed several key terms, just didn't fill them in correctly. So we could clearly see that the agent didn't know what they were doing. Plus, we had an offer that was less, and it did have a loan, but the buyer was incredibly motivated. The agent wanted to do anything to make it work. So what we did was we ended up countering, and here's another factor too, a great lender involved with this buyer, and a very reputable lender. So we went to that buyer and said, hey, if you come up and match the cash offer, we'll give it to you. So here's what that did. It gave us a huge advantage. In that scenario, we had two shots at that higher price. Because the cash offer didn't get it, but they were at that higher price, they would know that they didn't get it, and they'd probably stick at that price. If it didn't work out with the financed offer, we could have gone back to the cash at that same price. If it didn't work out with the cash, we would have dropped down to the lower price of the financed offer. So it gave us two shots at that higher price. And guess what happened? And it's funny how this tends to happen. It's kind of like the farmer's market approach of when you go to the farmer's market and people do goodwill by letting you sample certain things, you end up feeling obligated to return the favor by buying from that booth. And it's a similar dynamic I've seen with real estate, where because we gave this lower price option, this lower price buyer with the loan and option of winning and coming up and matching a cash offer, they returned the favor by being very kind to us with their request for repair. I mean, it was a very minimal request for repair. It was almost like they felt honored and appreciative of us giving them an opportunity, and they came back and reciprocated that by not asking for much with the request for repair. We closed it, and almost at exactly the price that we'd gone into escrow with barely dropping down a few $1,000s for request for repair. So that is a scenario of when it's a good idea to go with a financed offer over a cash offer. Every scenario is always different, and it's not just one term, it's the whole picture of the motivation of the buyer. And you've got to dig into that, because motivation is a huge driver in how things play out, not just at acceptance, but throughout the whole process. Because remember, in a sale of a property, there's two main points of negotiation. There's accepting the offer, and then there's accepting the repair request. Hopefully this helps answer your question and gives you another idea or another perspective on how to look at all the terms involved. Make it a great day. We'll see you on the next video.